Welcome to Death Before Dishonor 2022 review. Guys, I'm going to tell you right now, this is the second time I'm filming this because I botched the first one because I'm fried. It is so hot in New York City. It was nearly 97, but the real feel was like 101. I'm fried. So if I mix something up or forget something, I am sorry. I'm telling you right now, I'm wiped out. So if I forget something, I'm sorry. I really am. If I get something mixed up, I'm sorry. Deal with it. But I will tell you this. Was this show good? It was good. Was it great? It had great matches on it, at least one or two of them for me personally, but I don't believe it was a great pay-per-view, but I do believe it was a good pay-per-view. That's me, and I'll explain what I mean. First match, the first three matches, I'm just going to say they were good openers. Seeing Colt Cabana was cool. I'm glad he won. Seeing that the embassy, that it looks like Telly's not there anymore. Telly is not either. He's not working with the gods of agony and Brian Cage. It is somebody else, a prince, somebody. I don't remember him, but he calls his group the Embassy. Interesting. I'm interested to see how far these guys are going to go. If they're going to do anything, and how long will it take for them to get to the AEW roster, since this is supposed to be, and I will bring this up at the end of this review, supposedly supposed to be a developmental. The Embassy did win, so that was okay too. Seeing that Ism and Cheeseburger, they were interesting. But knowing that Daivari's younger brother has now been signed, I think to ROH or AEW, I think AEW he signed. Supposedly, it is still all AEW, but they're claiming it's ROH. Also, that anyone signed to ROH is signed to ROH. But essentially, Daivari's younger brother is now signed to AEW. So I'm not surprised he won his match here. He's new. They want to make him important, so they made him important on a pay-per-view, even if it's an extremely minor one. No problem. Cool. The final match on the kickoff was Allison Kay versus a Willow Nightingale. That girl's cute. I'm sorry. Allison's beautiful. And Nightingale's cute. Damn good looking woman. But I did not expect Allison to win here. They wanted Nightingale to have something special. So they let her win over Allison, who's been known to be the NWA Women's Champion and the NWA Women's Tag Champion, former for both, and also Impact. They just wanted her to have a moment, which they gave it to her. Do I believe it was good to but basically let Allison lose here? Unless she signs an AEW contract, she shouldn't need to lose. But I'm not surprised she didn't win here. Now, the main card. I'm going to tell you right now that I don't agree with most of what was on this show. Not going to say that the matches were all bad. I want to make this clear to anyone. Listen to my words, ladies and gentlemen. The matches like the kickoff were not bad. All the matches were all good to great quality. But I'm not agreeing with certain things that happened during this pay-per-view, and I'll explain. Claudio Castanoli versus Jonathan Gresham as the opener. Supposedly there was a coin flip, and they were having a duo pay-per-view main event, so they decided to throw them there. I'm sorry. No, I don't agree with this. You could have put Samoa Joe and Jay Lethal there instead of Jonathan Gresham and pretty much Claudio. I'm sorry. You're actually devaluing the world title due to the fact the world title has barely been seen anywhere. It's not like the world title for ROH has gone back to Impact Wrestling. Maybe over to New Japan, yeah, but not Impact. Not MLW, as far as I know. Not GCW, as far as I know. I could be wrong. I haven't checked. But as far as I know, we barely seen it. So this devalues it for me personally. I'm not saying the match was bad. This match was the second best match of the night for me personally. It was the second best. You got a much smaller stature. This is Claudio. This is Jonathan. It was a stark difference in size, but this was not about strength. This was about skill. And if anybody thinks that Gresham losing the way he did was, yeah, it was cool, but Gresham isn't that great of a wrestler. Bull freaking shit. Jonathan Gresham, at this point, I have seen him on Impact. I have seen him doing MLW. I saw him in not GCW, but I have seen him in a couple other promotions. The guy is an exceptional pro wrestler who does really good technical wrestling. Now, is he good in other aspects? He does have a good physique. He does have a decent, not great, but decent charisma. And he talks pretty well on the mic. So, seeing this situation, you expect them to at least make the title, and these two guys, Claudio coming in really hot, Gresham, who is really good, and at least leave them maybe somewhere in the middle of the card. No, the very opening I don't agree with. I'm sorry. If you're fine with it, more power to you. To me, this devalued the title. And yes, Jonathan dropped it to Claudio. Doesn't mean Jonathan Gresham is done with the company. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I don't know. But he dropped it to Claudio, who never had the title. So he finally claimed it, and he showed his appreciation for it. He was so happy to finally have it. For me, he deserved better than to be the opener. Claudio deserved better. You could have put Samoa Joe and Jay Lethal there. I'm sorry. As much as I love me Samoa Joe, and I do care about Jay Lethal, you should have put them there than Claudio and Gresham because of what that was. Now, 6-man tag for the trios or the 3-man tag team championship. You had Castle, I believe his name was Daytona Castle, I believe, and the boys, who were the most interesting next to the new guys who are working in the embassy, and who's working with, I don't remember the guy's name, that's working with Brian Case. Those guys, I've only seen them maybe a couple of times. They look impressive, but the boys were very strange. They basically were Fridays. Like, have you ever heard of the story of a guy who was stuck on a desert island and he had a girl named Friday or a guy named Friday? That's what these guys were. At one point, they were going to be a throne for him. Really? That was interesting. I've not seen that in a long time of ever. I don't remember the last time I've seen someone simulate they're trying to be a throne for somebody. Now, when it comes to the Righteous, when I saw Vincent there, I knew he was from ROH, fine, but I didn't know he held the triple man title or the trios title, so I didn't know. So when it came to this, I knew they were going to drop it, which they did. Now the question's going to be, what happens to everyone else? That's going to be a big question. And that's Castle and the boys. What are they going to do with them? I'll explain more later, but this is my concern. Now, the Pure Championship. Wheeler Yuta versus, oh man, I'm told you I'm feeling a little fried. Wheeler Yuta versus Garcia. I gotta tell you this. Many people will say this is their second best match of the night. Easily, it was very good. For me, it was the third best. Claudio and Gresham was the second best. Flat out, I'm sorry, that's just me. But this was the third best for me. It was a very high octane, very focused, very good match. And in the end, I was not surprised Wheeler Yuta was going to retain. Even though Garcia said if he won, he's going to bring the title over to AEW Dynamite or Rampage, and he was going to destroy it, which would have been interesting. I actually kind of wish he had won, because then they would have done something that would have been more interesting than what they've been doing with the Pure title anyway. You rarely see Wheeler Yuta defend the title. This is one of those times, but still you don't see him wear it often and defend it at the same time on AEW Dynamite or Rampage. Maybe Dark, maybe Elevation, but not those shows which the general population watches. I'm just saying. Now, here's the match that I just didn't care about. And it was not about the match quality. It was that this match was a letdown due to the fact that you have brother versus actual brother. You have ROH, who works with Andrade you see I'm tired. Andrade El Idolo, who just recently got married to Charlotte or Ashley. And his brother, Tiger, what is his name? Not Tiger, but Dragon Lee. I felt zero. You know why? They did this as a straight match when they should have done this as a brother versus brother match. There was no feeling. There was nothing. It was just two lucha wrestlers facing one another who had an attitude toward each other. There was nothing there. You could have done more. You could have had these guys say, look, we want you to show more emotion. We want you to actually get pissed off at each other in a way that you don't have to constantly keep wrestling each other. Show that you don't want to wrestle each other. Even if ROH is a total heel, if he loves his brother and this is the first time in a long while they wrestled and he really doesn't want to hurt him, or better yet, Dragon Lee for that matter, make them be reluctant to harm each other and actually pause for a few seconds to a minute, being reluctant to be even in the ring with each other. No, I felt nothing. Now, many people will say, well, that's part of ROH's charm. That's also one of the reasons why ROH went under. I'm sorry. ROH went freaking under because of this type of attitude. I'm not lying here. And it's not just because there was a pandemic. They had not been doing well for quite a long time. They never changed their formula. And no one's saying to change the formula 100% about being pure wrestling. But you must remember, pro wrestling has pantomime in it. It has spectacle to a certain extent. It has stories in it. It has emotion in it. Even New Japan Pro Wrestling Noah, All Japan Pro Wrestling, they have storylines that they play out on TV and their pay-per-views. Even if it doesn't always translate over here, you could see it. This match had nothing. And it's kind of strange knowing that Lucha Libre shows a lot of emotion along with a lot of fast-paced wrestling. And these guys couldn't even show that they had any emotion. I was highly disappointed. Not in their match quality, but in just the storytelling aspect of it. It felt empty. Yes, ROH won, but he had to do whatever he had to do. He cheated. But in the end, there was nothing there. Now, the women's... Let me give it to you like this. If there was no Castanoli and Gresham, this would have been my second best match of the night. It would have been. Seeing that Mercedes Martinez going against Selena Deeps was damn good. It was a damn good match. Now, the problem I had was with the fans there in Massachusetts. They barely cheered through most of that match. Not until the end did they start cheering. And it wasn't that the match quality was bad, and it wasn't that was emotion. They just went blank after a while. Maybe it was due to the fact that what happened with Rhea Yuta and Garcia, that they went really high with them, then they dropped because of ROH and Dragon Lee, and then they couldn't get back up again. Because their cheering was really dead, most of it. Doesn't mean the match was bad. It would have been the second best match for me personally, because of how well the psychology of the match was. It was a damn good match. A couple of times I kind of got worried about Selena Deeps. She got dumped on the head hard at one point. Real hard. But I'll say this. What disappointed it for me was Selena Deeps not winning the title. I'm sorry. The Professor should have won the match. She should have. I like Mercedes. I do. I really do like her. She has a good attitude. She can be a very good heel or a decent face, but she's way better as a heel. I'm sorry, she is. She just has that feeling of being a bitch. A lot more than being a nice girl. But the point is, Selena Deeps as the Professor has been done very well. Even though the story she had with Hida Kushida was not great for me, she did win me over enough to make me believe in her. And she should have won the title. And she hasn't. She has not won the world title. She has not won the TBS title. This is the third string title, and she should have won it, and she did not win it. I am disappointed in this match, not because of its quality, because this easily could have been the third best match of the night, going past Willow and Garcia. But due to the fact that it was the wrong picking for the champion, I'm making it fourth, because I just cannot agree with it. Now, Jay Lethal versus Samoa Joe. Now, you know me. I'm a Joe fan. I love me Joe. I've seen Joe. He is damn good. He's great as a commentator.
How the blue fuck did WWE be so stupid let go of a damn good commentator?
He's a damn good commentator. If he wasn't wrestling anymore, he can easily transition to commentating, and he would be damn good at it. But he's also still a good wrestler. He's still able to go. And in this match, it was good. I liked the story between him and Jay Lethal. 17 years in the making. That could have been the end of the show right there. That match could have had its own pay-per-view, which I think it should have. I think it should have had its own pay-per-view. 17 years in the freaking making, that Samoa Joe, who trained Jay Lethal, who's been let him be his protege, had nailed him more than a few times, screwed him over, and Jay just feels like he is owed better. And to be honest, since Samoa Joe has not been there, you would think at this point, unless Samoa Joe's going to be on the show a lot like Rampage or Dynamite, wouldn't it have been better for him to drop the title? Because I think the way the fans were cheering for Jay at one point and booing Jay, he should have won it. But he did not. He tapped out, just like what happened with Selena Deep's tapping out. He tapped out. Flat out, he tapped. So it was a great match for the most part. But again, wouldn't have been better unless Samoa Joe is going to be on Rampage, is going to be on Dynamite more. If he's not, and he disappears for another couple of weeks or a couple of months again, then there was no point of it. Especially if Jay Lethal's going to be shown on the show so much. I'm just saying. Finally, the last match of the night. The best match of the night for me personally. FTR versus Briscoes number 2. Now, not everyone's going to like this match. A lot of people are going to say it was just too many false starts, too many false finishes, even though it was a 2 out of 3 fall. Remember, this match here was a 2 out of 3 fall tag team match for the titles. So, having those type of falls makes perfect sense. And it was a damn good match. At one point, Dax gets busted open here. At another point, once, I think it was John or Jay, I can't remember who of the Briscoes, grabs the timekeeper's bell and whacks Cash in the head with it. He gets busted open. Then eventually Mark, I believe, gets busted open, and his brother Jay as well. Everybody was bleeding, and including even Dash started bleeding again. It was a mess. A damn good match that easily, as a tag match, many people say, which ones are the best tag matches you can see? FTR versus the Briscoes number 1 was good, but I think this is a better match. This was a better match, particularly for the stakes. The stakes are legacy. The Briscoes now, and that's what I was thinking, if the Briscoes win, it's due to the fact they're staying in AEW ROH. And I did hear them say that the Briscoes did get signed for a long-term contract with ROH, which is AEW. Remember, AEW is ROH. So I thought, well, when they said that, oh, maybe they will win. They probably are going to win because they're going to want the titles. But no, I thought two things. Two things I thought. The first one, if the Briscoes won, it's because they're now working for AEW. That's it. But I didn't agree with that because FTR is so hot right now as the AAA Tag Champions, as the New Japan Pro Wrestling IWGP World Tag Team Champions, and as the ROH Champions. It would be ridiculously stupid for them to drop it to the Briscoes, even though they now have signed with AEW ROH version. It would have been dumb. I wanted the ROH to win. and not ROH, you see I'm tired, that FTR to win, which they did, and I'm glad. It was a damn good match. Even at one point, Dax literally knocks out the ref. He nails the ref by accident, and he's going, like, you know how little kids, when they do something wrong, go, he acted like an 8-year-old girl, all right. He puts his hand over his mouth like, oh, did I do that? A little bit of Steve Urkel. If you don't know Family Matters, that's where it comes from. But I will tell you this. It was a damn good match. And what happened afterward was interesting because once they won, Dash and Cash, they tried to get the Briscoes back in the ring and say, let these guys get the respect, ladies and gentlemen, which they did. And then they basically said their piece, saying, and it was Dash who really made it clear, I love this fucking sport. I love my family, I love my daughter, I love my wife, and I love this fucking sport. I don't care if everyone thinks I'm a fucking mark. This is true pro wrestling. No more, no less. And then after he said that, along with Cass saying his bit, you pretty much get Claudio and Willow coming out holding up their titles. The question's going to be, what does that mean? Does that mean they're going to ask them, hey, join us in the Blackpool Combat Club, or we want to challenge you next? Don't know. But here's the thing, guys. This is where the two things I talked about is a big question. Yes, we now had another pay-per-view for ROH, which is really AEW. If anybody tells you this is a great ROH show, this is incredible, no. We're talking about an AEW show masquerading as ROH, because that's what this is. Guys, even though I do believe they're going to have another couple of shows for ROH, I think, I could be wrong, that could just be a Dynamite or Rampage they're talking about, I don't remember. But even if they are showing ROH again, in maybe about a month or 2 or 3, what does this mean for AEW, and what does this mean for the developmental we know they need to have? When we look at Elevation and Dark, it is obvious that it should be a combined show. They need credibility for developmental, and they got it in ROH. But still, we get no information on ROH turning into a developmental. All we getting right now is a couple of appearances from, understand, we get the pure champion who's part of the Blackpool Combat Club, but he doesn't defend his title often. We now have, well, when it comes to Ring of Honor, tag champions, they will defend it, but only at certain times, which is fine. They got 3 titles they got to do, so there's no problem with that. But now that we have the world champion who had opened the show and then dropped the damn title pretty quickly, and then you got the pure champion who did win, but then you also have the television title defended and also won. But the question is, he's now part of the Blackpool Combat Club, so you will not see him with Wheeler Yuta. But the question is, will he be seen? And here's the biggest thing, the biggest question. Why are we still seeing everyone on Dynamite and Rampage and not ROH, the
one that's obvious that needs to be a developmental?
You guys tell me. Is there a roadmap for ROH to be turned into a true developmental? No matter what anybody's reporting, we don't see anything. Tony needs to come up with a plan to turn that ROH brand into a true developmental platform. He needs to retire Dark. He needs to retire Elevation. They need to be retired and turned into theme shows for ROH. A ROH show that is Elevation. An ROH show that is Dark. Yes, they've had their own shows, but you don't have to lose them. They can be themed shows, like theme episodes. If you can't find a network, put the damn thing on YouTube and close down Elevation and Dark. Make ROH your new developmental and stick it where Dark and Elevation is, on YouTube. There's no problem with it. How has he not done this yet? Or has he decided, I want to put this on a network? But if he can't find a network, wouldn't it be easier just to air it the way you would normally with dark and elevation, then close down elevation and dark, transfer all the assets of elevation and dark to ROH? Wouldn't it be better to consolidate instead of leaving it as it is? This is what I'm saying. Yes, we got a good pay-per-view. Not a great one, but a good one. We had some good matches, some that didn't make a lot of sense, and a few great matches. But what does this really do for AEW? And what does this mean, again, for ROH? People think this is still a brand. It's not. It's nothing. These guys are wheeling around and running around with straps that have no real promotion. Or not even developmental for that matter. They're basically toys. I want them to be more than that. Honestly, I want them to be more. But I do say that the show was alright. Even the commentators, even though at the beginning they sounded good and they started rolling off, like they started being a little sloppy at the end, even the commentators were alright. But still, we need something more. But it's just me, and I hope you enjoyed the same view. Please give me a comment below. I don't know if I'm going to put any images in this. I'm just probably going to upload this because I'm fried. It's hot. And if I'm going to, I'm going to see in the next day or two, I'm going to do a triple threat. I don't know if I'll do 3 promotions. I am going to see if I can look at NWA Power and USA. I haven't seen the 2 episodes, one of the episodes I missed from last week. I was busy doing something. So I'm going to see if I'm going to watch MLW. Try it for this week and last week if I can. And maybe I might tell you what I think of it, but I will not do a review of it. Peace.